Okay guys, I'm going to be showing you guys another primitive living skill today. This doesn't necessarily pertain to survival, this pertains more so to primitive living or making your own varnish or stain that will preserve wood. Okay, so what we need to do here to make this, which is called pine tar, we need to locate a downed pine. Okay, like this one here, it's a good aged old down pine, which means that all these lower branches on this pine here, you can see they run all the way down here. Okay, those are what you want, and the reason being is you want fat wood for this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to hack all these branches off and get as many as I can, and then we're going to split them down and process them over here, and all this excess up here that we're not going to use becomes our firewood, because we're going to need a good hot fire, and well, pine branches burn really hot and quick, and that's the kind of fire we're going to need. So we're going to gather a whole bunch of this, and I want to bring you in, show you what kind of wood you're looking for. Okay, if you look in here, I'm going to go ahead and just shave a little bit off this, see if we can't find what we're looking for. There it is. Okay, if you see right there, okay, when you look down in here, you see where this goes. You know, I'll take some from up here so you can really see. If you look here, you can see in the camera that this goes from lighter to darker to darker. Well, this good orange color is what we're looking for. So we're going to cut these branches off, and we're only going to use from here to here in our batch for pine tar. But we want to, even when we go even lower down here, you'll see the difference. Okay, we're going to come even lower down here, and you can see that this one here has got even more in it. I mean, that's beautiful right there. Let me bring you in so you can see. Okay, just coming down, you know, what were we, another 8 feet down the tree, that's what we got, and that's what we're looking for right there. That's fat wood. Okay, whether you're using this to carry in your pack to start fires in wet conditions or not, this is what you're looking for. Okay, that good deep orange color. I'll bring you back over here, you know, another 8 feet up the tree, and you can see that this one doesn't have that deep orange color all the way up it. It's got a little bit down here. You can see where it started right there. But this one here, now that we get down this tree, is getting a lot darker. So focus your time and energy on those ones. Use your excess as your firewood. Easy job. You can see I've got that much more to go down this thing. I've got plenty of pine trees, you know, downed all over me. That's why I chose this area. I knew that this was here. So if you know where there's some pine trees, you can make yourself some pine tar. Pine tree, when it fell, looks like it broke this tulip poplar here. So you know what that means? That means we got some tinder here. It's up in the air, it's still on the tree. So we'll just peel that off. Got ourselves some tinder. Okay guys, so I want to get this fire going before I get too in depth with anything. So I'm going to kind of break all this tulip poplar up. Dry stuff at least, and you want to get your fire going because you need it, you know, at least 400 degrees to get this to work. So what we're going to do is get our fire going. While I'm getting the fire going, I'm going to kind of explain what everything is if you haven't already seen pine tar made. You need a couple metal containers. I happen to have a big 5-gallon metal bucket, which is perfect for this. if you want a good yield, okay? You can use small coffee tins and tin cans and all that, but you're not going to get as much yield. Okay, and then I have my handy dandy pot down here buried in the ground that I use for, you know, making dye and this kind of thing right here. Okay, that's going to be my catch. Now, I poked a few holes in the bottom of this. You don't need 100. Now, another thing, poke your holes from the inside out. Don't poke this way, because then you're going to create a burr there, and your liquid won't run out. It'll just sit there. You want it to so it'll flow out nice and smooth. Poke it from the inside out. Okay, and then the next step, really, besides getting my fire going, is open this up. Now I like this because this container seals. Okay, you want it to seal off. It's kind of like char cloth in a way. Okay, see, just a nice big empty container that fits perfectly on top of that. Okay, so I'm gonna just leave that open, get my fire going here, and then we will begin the process of tearing down our fat wood into little tiny staves. Just little kindling is all we want. Okay, now when we get this fire rolling, we're going to want to build it all the way around this thing. We're going to build a big fire. Okay, so I'm going to get all that up in there. I'm going to get me some of this pine here and get it moving around. Okay, this is, you can bring a big glass jar and that can hold your pine tar when you're finished. Okay, it's the last thing you really need. Just a quick tip, guys. If you're trying to build a fire all the way around something, best thing to do is, before you put any wood down, throw some tinder all the way around underneath. And that's what I did with that excess tulip poplar. And then I'm grabbing the leaves on the top surface here, which are still somewhat dry. You just tuck them all the way around your pot here. And what that does is just create something that the flame can catch, and then it'll set your kindling on fire. Okay guys, I'm going to throw another little tip in. With smaller wood like this, sometimes it's tough to split it, unless you have your knife and you're batoning it like that, but I like to do things quick. And a quick way to do that is just, smaller wood splits easier. But you don't want to do it like this and risk chopping your hand off. Okay, so lay it on its side, okay? Hit it, and it'll split just like that, okay? And then you just turn your hatchet, finish the job, okay? Come back over here, hit it. You can probably hit it a couple times, split it a couple different ways. Once you're down this small, you just grab and pull if you can. If not, hit it again. You've already got that piece split down into a whole bunch. Okay? That's just a little quick tip I'm going to give you on splitting smaller wood like that. It's a lot easier than batoning every single piece, and you don't beat your knife up, you use your hatchet. Okay? And then you don't chop your fingers off. Alright guys, got a huge pile of fat wood split up here. Fire's good and hot. Now we need to just place it in the barrel. You want to try to get them up and down, because that sap's going to want to run up and down. Okay? We're just going to shove all this in here. Kind of fit it together like a jigsaw puzzle. And then we really got to seal that top off. That's why I like that lid, because it closes well. Okay, because if you don't, this stuff's just going to start on fire on you. Same concept as char cloth, if you remember how to make char cloth. Okay, so we're just going to pack this guy full, like this. If you guys didn't have a seal like I do, okay, I have a rubber seal in there and everything, and it's probably going to melt a little bit, but that's alright. you would want to pack mud around this, okay? Just seal it off really good, okay? This will be alright as is, but that's just another pointer you might want to try if you don't have success with it. But that there is all we got to do. So there we have some pine tar, guys. Okay, I'm running out of daylight here, so I'm not going to be able to make as much as I wanted to today. But all we do is just repeat this process here and fill that whole jar up and have ourselves a good amount of pine tar. And just do it the next time you need it. If you're in a good place where you have a place where you can just leave this stuff and maybe stash it. Okay? Then you have yourself a place to make pine tar. And you can see its consistency, it's real, it's like oil, okay? It's sticky. And what we're going to do here is just kind of go over some of the uses. Okay, pine tar is good, like if you were to have a wound or something, it's good for sealing up a wound. It's good for, you know, antiseptical properties, just like pine sap. You can use the two together. It's the biggest thing that, you know, a lot of people use it for is for sealing wood. Okay, it will preserve wood, seal it, and it's kind of like a stain, you know, like a finish that you would put on wood today that you'd buy at a store. But it's, you know, made from nature, so you take a little more pride into it. Now what I have here is a piece of cordage that I just whipped up here out of this tulip poplar. Nice little piece of rope. What we really want to do is dunk it when it's hot like this, so we can get the rope saturated in it. Okay, after we dunk it, you can see that it coats that like so. But that's a good way to keep your ropes from rotting. Okay, you just put some pine tar on your rope that you weave out in nature. Okay, primitive living. That's one thing that would make your life easier if you want to make rope and make it last, because you know how hard it is to make a lot of rope. You just dunk it in some pine tar, and that'll help make it last. Turns it into like a bank line. Now, you could also use it on paracord. Paracord's not going to rot, but it will help make it sticky. Okay, I've had a lot of people have problems with the bow drill and getting it to stick to the spindle. Well, that's one way to do it, is just by simply dunking it in some pine tar. It'll stick to that spindle when you're using your motions, and it won't slip on you. And that's just another tip there. Alright, we went over that pine tar will preserve wood, and we went over that pine tar can seal a wound and help with that antiseptically. Pine tar will also waterproof things. You know, Maritimes would use it for boats, waterproofing boats and sealing boats off. So we can use it in that sense. We went over dunking rope to preserve rope, keep it from rotting with pine tar. We can also use it in this sense. Okay, pine tar is flammable like a candle. Okay, so once we dunk a piece of rope, it's going to burn like a candle. And I brought this out here. This is just an old can from an old tiki torch. You could carry these in your backpack. They're lightweight, weighs nothing, doesn't take up that much space. And you know, you keep the old wick in it like this. Fill this thing up with pine tar, and you got some oil to refill your torch with. I'll be using pine tar down the road here. You'll see me use it when I make my Osage bow, and maybe some other things that I'm going to use it on. So we'll go over that down the road, but there was how to make some pine tar.